Alright, welcome everyone. It's David, aka Fairmere4731. Yeah, we got us some cav and some infantry. We got it all, except for artillery. This is a match on the Finland, and this is sent in to me by Huey, one of my good friends, and he is going to be playing with Britain. And this is an interesting match. It's all Britain versus all United States of America. Oh, we got a little Revolutionary War action going on. And it looks like most of these players have probably not played on Finland too much, or at least very often. But the action's getting underway with the British cav charge. And I want to say, baby, come back! Because it looks like a bad thing. Charging versus one long rifle. You don't know what's behind. That typically does happen. Screaming horses extraordinaire. Let's hightail it out of there. Lucky for him, he got out of there and he's walking. He's in shock. One of his cav does route off, unfortunately. But up here at the top of the map, looks like, yeah, the American players are right over top of each other, and looks like the this is going to be a messy affair. So this is something that typically happens. Finland's a little bit different map because when you start out, your starting positions are one right behind the other on the top and also on the bottom. So usually with newer players, they just come up together and end up overlapping and getting a lot of friendly fire. So this is a good little tutorial moment to make sure that you pick a side that you're going to cover. That way everybody has a job to do. You know, one person can try to go for the flank, one person holds the center. That way you don't end up overlapping like you see there just below the hill. Now the one of the American players, and I'm not even going to bother trying to figure out who's who because it's just all too confusing, but one of the American players is going to bring all of his light dragoons up here to the top of the hill, and he's going to provide some flanking fire on the British units at the top. And yeah, this is going to be some pretty devastating fire, and it's not going to bode well for that British unit in the trees as he tries to make his way out. Yeah, he just gets ripped apart. 4 light dragoons shooting on you at once. It's not going to usually be too good for you. You didn't take too much damage right off the first 2 volleys, but you still got 2 more to go, and he's going to rout off. So looks like we got a little cav mess going on here in the just below the summit of the hill. Yeah, it looks pretty nasty, and one of the American players just walking right into it with his infantry. So luckily the British player decides to pull out of that, I think. Yeah, looks like, as the Minutemen decide to walk through the whole mess. So you can see one of the, it must have been the other player on the top. He does form a square. The other one, like I said, he looks probably like he was not sure what to do in that situation. So let's check the bottom of the hill here, see if anything's happened. Ah! What? It looks like the American cav's gonna, and the British cav over here are getting into it, but yeah, something going on. Little cav on cav action at the bottom of the hill. But it looks like this long rifle is trying to sneak up on these British cav down here. Might not be too good for them. But it does look like the British at the top might have a little bit better say, or not. Look what's it? Oh my God! Did he just spam all long rifles? I think the player taking the flank at the bottom, looks like all 4 of the players at the bottom kind of do play this a little bit more standard, because the one at the bottom is taking the flank. But it does look, if you look up to the top right of the screen, it does look like that player is marching up to reinforce the top of the hill. So, yeah, kind of, and it looks like the top of the hill, as we are back up here, it looks like one of the American players is trying to split the British players from the bottom part of the hill. We'll see how that ends up turning out. And it looks like all the British units at the top of the hill have routed off. He does have, looks like one grenadier unit still standing at the top over there, though. But yeah, all the American cav, looks like they might try to sweep that top of that hill. And we got one of the American players just going right at it. So one of the, you can see in the background, again, the other American player from the bottom coming up to help. But it looks like this Huey's guards here are opening up on the American player just in the background. That one American unit is giving him some flanking fire, but he's kind of condensed, so he's not going to do a whole lot of damage to the guards compared to what the guards are going to do. As you can see, one of the American and the British player from the bottom is coming up to support through the valley, so not going to bode well for the American player down there. Up here at the top, looks like that grenadier unit just holding out versus all these players. He's going to start pulling back. And looks like they do got some reinforcements by another British unit, so, but you can see they're pretty outgunned, but they are trying to reinforce. Looks like a co-optive cav charge by the two British players up here as they try to smash into the American cav to try to win back the hill. And versus light dragoons is probably not going to fare well, but the American player's pulling his goons out. That could be costly, but it looks like he did make it out. He left one behind to be the sacrificial lamb, if you will. Yeah, so one dragoon is still holding out, but there it goes. It's gone. And looks like they're doing a cav mess up there. But yeah, this guard unit's now just lighting up this American unit here at the center. Yeah, and there he goes. He's out of there. He didn't like that too much. So it looks like the British player's coming up to reinforce as his opponent was going up to help as well. Probably needs to send more units because it looks like the other player's complete army is going up there. But it looks like down here the British player is going to try and make a push. And this is but it looks like he's stopping. So I mean, if you have an opponent that brings all light units, all long range units, it's actually a pretty easy army to defeat. And you can see here what the player is doing, but he's rushing the cav in too quickly. You should run your line up, let them take most of the bullets, and let your cav come in behind to mop up. But he is getting a pretty successful charge off, and all you got to do is just get in a melee with these long rifles, and you'll kill them off pretty quick, because they are a low morale unit. And it looks like he's going to get in a rifle fight with them, which is not a wise situation. You should just go ahead and stick the bayonet in him. But it looks like he's going to... And he's got more cav coming in, but his two cav in the back are starting to rout out. And we'll see how that fares out for him. But there he's getting another pretty successful charge off on him. But it looks like the American player, very wisely, is turning his units to shoot versus keeping firing on the other player, because you can see how they all turned at an angle, so they're all aiming to shoot at those cav units. They're not clicking to melee against them. So that's really good move on his part. So I will say he does know how to use the long rifles, but still it's an extremely risky thing to do, to bring all long rifles to a match like this, especially on Finland. So here it looks like the hill has actually become a little more contested than I thought it would at the beginning of the game. Looks like the the first American player at the top is routed off, and the second army of American units is coming up. And looks like we got another American cav charge on these poor green jackets. Doesn't look like they're boding too well on that. But you can see here, yeah, it's this unit here is just getting leveled by the British players, and that must be the last unit of that. Well, that looks like there's one more meleeing in the trees, but here at the bottom, British player, I don't know what he's doing. Looks like he's he did get those two infantry units into melee, but it's a little bit too late. Should be pushing everything he's got into him. He would beat him easily and be able to come up to assist against the top, because it looks like the two British players are, you know, in the center of the top. They're doing pretty well. At the top of the hill, they're not doing too good, but they can always fade back and go back down the hill. But yeah, it looks like the American players really just on the top has really pushed the advantage up there. Here we go. Oh, it actually looks as though the British player at the bottom is using a Rogers Rangers unit and one Ferguson to hold back. What is it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 long rifles with one Rogers Rangers and one Ferguson. He's in a shooting match with them. We're going to have a moment of silence for the British player at the bottom of the hill. Okay, so it looks like the other British player at the bottom, the one that was reinforcing the top, it looks like he must have quit or something after he saw, probably after he saw what was going on with the Rogers Rangers and the Ferguson. He probably is like, oh, I can't do it. But his units are now going to go amok, and that's not going to be good for the British players. And sadly enough, they could have easily beat the player at the bottom and really won this match. So that's kind of unfortunate that he did drop like that, because you can see here at the top, somehow the Brits are taking back the top of the hill somehow. I don't even know how they managed that, but yeah, they're actually winning it back. So really great job on their part, because I don't know how they did that, but the other British player here at the top, the one at the bottom, he's going in with the AI. Maybe he doesn't realize that it's the AI controlled British units, but he went out for an attack, and that's not going to be good for him. I mean, you can use some of the AI to shield, but yeah, it's not really going to fare good. Like I don't know what to say about the bottom down here. He's just getting tore up all over the place. Okay, so now he does finally decide to slap on the bayonet and put it to him. We'll see how he fares after he lost his all of his long range in a shootout, and he got ate up a little bit on the while he was standing off. Yeah, he's gonna get into melee with him. All he's got to do is take him down. It's sad too, because at the beginning of the game, you know that he had a general unit for a long rifle, because it was the only visible unit was one long rifle. So you know, and you can see he's got all of his long rifles shooting straight up into them. But up here at the top of the hill, yeah, I'm still amazed. The British were able to take back the top of the hill. This is pretty amazing, but they are cut off from the bottom. So I don't know if this British player can pull it off down here. He is starting to rout the long rifles, which shouldn't be a task with the British line. All he's got to do is get into him, but the American player is at least smart enough to turn and shoot versus melee, but he should be kiting back a little bit. He could save more of his army. Looks like one of the American players is coming down to help him, which probably isn't really a wise thing. You should wait for them to come to you. I think it's the one that went up to the top. So his army is going to be completely exhausted in this game. So he's actually charging with the green jacket there. But even still, he needs those other units down at the bottom. He's he waited too long to take out that one long rifle. He should have been pushing through that to get to the others, leaving one unit to take care of that one. But yeah. Okay, so yeah, the American players at the top of the hill over here, looks like they're getting flanking fire from Huey's Brits, and he's laying the pain on them. About to rout out another unit here, and geez Louise. Okay, looks like British players here are overlapping their units and taking some friendly fire too, but okay, one of the guys is dead, general. Okay, so looks like Huey's the only one left at the top of the hill. He's only got let's see, about 8 units left. He's holding back the American player, but like I said, looks like the other American player that was at the bottom, he went back downhill. So I don't know what the heck he's doing, but Huey's beating off both of these other American players. Okay, down here, yeah, so this is still at the top of the hill, but goodness. So we're getting a bayonet charge by the American player over here on this depleted unit. That probably should favor him, but I don't know why he didn't shoot it out with them. Although I probably would have done the same. So he's kiting back his other unit, Huey is, and so he can keep him and keep him shooting. So looks like there's one American unit behind and one in front, but Huey's laying flanking fire on both of them. Then down here he's opening up on the one down there as well. So the British player at the bottom is completely routed off at this point. So it looks like the American player at the bottom is on his way back uphill. So he's going to be, it'll be about 3 years before he makes it up. Let's see here. It looks like he's taking it right in the face. He's still shooting. He's taking it right in the face. Oh my God. Oh wow, that stab right there.
Guten Abend, gute Nacht, mit
I'm sorry, I did have to go there. But anyways, this is a good game. It was a lot of fun watching this. So I hope you please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. I'm not going to show the rest, and I'm not going to show the results to protect the innocent. But again, good game, Huey. You really held out there long term, and he did end up losing, but he got over 1,500 kills. So great job.